sense that
Sorry.
it makes sense that really it is really everything is there recorded in the soul, you know, and tapping into the subconsciousness really will bring that out. And with Baba's help at this time, which is only at confluence age that we Brahmins get, we can emerge what is within there. Because I often always thought where visions is concerned in the copper and iron age, because souls do get those visions and is where they come from. And, in growing up, from a Hindu background, while we had Hindu prayers all the time, I always thought that, there was something higher. I never really fixed it on the deities. I always talk of God in my own mind, never know what God is in the sense of image or so. But when you hear, like my mother had visions of Lakshmi, and when you come to this part of knowledge, you sometimes wonder where that vision came from, and Baba has also said to us that, he gives the return to the devotee for all their love and worshiping of him. But the subtle region, I always ask whether, I think once Baba, I'm not sure, I think once Baba would have mentioned the subtle region also always existed. I think in one Murli, if I'm not mistaken. And I think when he said that, I think that's when I really question when he says he creates it for the Brahmins. So my thing is what you say, and I didn't think of it in that way. That really would make sense if he ignites the consciousness within us, the subconsciousness. And I don't know, because really when you're doing your meditation and then said you go into the subtle region, then you go into soul's world, and it's a visualization process, but it really has to go, I realize, deeper than that. It has to go on a realization and so tap into really the soul, what is recorded there. I always say everything is in the soul, recorded there, good and bad. So I do agree with you that really it is a subconscious and energy, subconscious there, that with Baba's help and your own level of purity and effort and realization, that emerges, So I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know.
Yes,
But
no.
I think it must be subconscious because, all through your life, you didn't have this knowledge, you didn't know what it was, but you always knew that there was something special that was able to help you as you went along. There was something that was helping you. And like Ambika said, really, you always felt there was something greater than just looking at the deities. So when you had dreams of the deities, in a way, it was like visions as well. There was a time I was dreaming them every night. So it's really your subconscious. It's like bringing you back from the memories of the past. Thank you so much for explaining that.
Yes, I think that, thank you as well. And I think you've illustrated, because you would have been having those dreams after Brahma has realized, you know what I mean? Like after the daddies have realized. So because you are part of the Brahmin clan, it's releasing like a common energy amongst us. So Baba says Brahma must be first. Once he begins to realize, it spreads a wave throughout all the Brahmins, and we become BKs at different points in the drama. But subconsciously, at that moment, once Brahma has realized, there is a wave spreading through the whole clan, and it just becomes conscious at different times. So Baba always says that the moment that Shiva incarnated, it's also the birth of the Brahmins. It always says that. So we exist in that thought level as Brahmins from that moment. I think the key thing Ambika Ben said is everything is in the soul. Brother Jagdish, whose anniversary we were commemorating 3 weeks ago, he used to say in his classes that if you had attended these Murlis with Brahma Baba live, you would have seen these facial expressions of wonder as he's sharing these points. And when he hears sometimes people read the Murli, they just read it as if it's like a standard boring point. So he was at a sense of humor and he used to say, come on, let's really convey what Baba is trying to convey. So he used to say that, like that point that we hear quite often, the soul is a point of light and it has the part of 84 births recorded in it. He would say, Bab Dada used to say it, that the soul is a point of light and it has 84 births recorded in it. And that's the way Baba would say. He found it so amazing. And so when you were there live, you were really feeling that this is an amazing point. But because we just like we standard here and it can be just washing over us rather than realizing everything is in the soul. This is the point that Baba is making. So even with devotees, he tends to refer to the devotee Mira the most when it comes to an example of visions. She was a devotee of 500 years ago. She was a queen. And she took a vow of celibacy to be like married to Krishna, like a nun, really, not like married to Krishna, even though she was married. And she was very intensive. So Baba said she got the reward in the form of visions of dancing with Krishna in heaven. Now, what's interesting there is that it's not a memory in that sense, that Baba says that soul doesn't actually go to the golden age. That is a soul from the path of devotion who only comes in the Iron Age, only 500 years ago. So, but then Baba makes the comment in Murlis, why do people have visions? And he gives an answer which used to frustrate me, but now I think I get it. The answer he gives is because it's fixed in the drama. And you think, Baba, come on, it's sort of like, give us a proper answer. So sometimes when Baba says this, oh, it's fixed in the drama. Give us a proper answer, Baba. Why do these things happen? And he says, fixed in the drama. But actually, if we think about it, what is he saying? He's saying that the drama is really the role that's recorded inside of the soul. It's just being manifested. So that vision is recorded inside of the soul of Mira because she has it every cycle. And so at that moment, when she's going to have the vision, she's going to perform the devotion to earn the vision. The vision is already recorded within the soul. And Baba just has to touch and make it emerge again. And so she's like, why does she love Krishna in the first place? You could argue she had a vision in the previous cycle. It left the imprint in her. So then she comes back and becomes a devotee of Krishna again. So we have to understand that with this repetition of the cycle, the key thing is that the role is recorded in the soul. And the dynamic is that at what moment does something emerge from the soul? And that's what we call time, isn't it? Like when Baba says to us, like one of the common questions that BKs have for Baba is, when will destruction happen? When will the golden age come? And Baba's answer the other day in the Murali was, when the Brahmins are ready, when the kingdom of the deities is ready, that's when it will happen. So what is he saying to us? He's saying there's not really time, but it's not time that exists separately. But it's when the Brahmin soul is fully emerging their deity form, when the kingdom is ready, then it will be the golden age. So everything is about the recording inside of the soul. And when that emerges, that's when certain things happen in the drama. So yeah, I think that's really the subconscious, like the subconsciousness of the soul is vast. It's like a universe of its own. I think we should see every soul. Baba calls us lucky stars, doesn't he? And we know that stars are actually suns, aren't they? So every soul is actually like a sun, and their subconsciousness is their universe. And inside of every soul is a vast role, vast specialities, vast thoughts, vast capabilities. And at different points, that's manifesting. If you think about the Brahmin souls, 84 births, 4 ages, thousands of years, and you're sitting in that body containing all of that. Isn't that remarkable? We have a television program here in the UK that's quite famous called Doctor Who. And Doctor Who is like this time travel lord. And he travels back in the 1950s and 60s in the UK. They used to have telephone boxes, and they used to also have police boxes where there would be like a resource box for police. So it's like a cabin where police officers could leave their items and go back and forth. So it was quite small, like a telephone booth. And he travels in that. So when you look at it on the outside, that police booth, you could barely fit one person in it if you were going in. But actually, when he enters, it's a vast spaceship inside. And that's how we should look at the soul. The soul is a point of light. But Baba uses this term in Hindi. The word for point is bindu, bindu, and one of the words for ocean is sindhu. So Baba says that when you look at the point, don't just look at the point. Don't just look at the bindu, B-I-N-D-O-O. Also look at the sindhu, S-I-N-D-H-O-O, the ocean. So when you look at Shiv Baba, you know he's the ocean of love, the ocean of knowledge, the ocean of purity. With human souls, it's different because we are the ocean of our role. We have so many identities. If you think even within one lifetime, we play many roles, don't we? I mean, we reinvent ourselves many times. We have many experiences. So it's not just 84 roles, it's 84 births, but many, many roles inside of those 84 births. Many different empires, many different times, many different religions. And we've got a big variety of sanskars. And there you are as a point of light containing all of that. So you can see the wonder that Baba felt when Shiv Baba revealed that point, that it's a tiny point containing all of this.
So they call it TARDIS.
Yes, it was called the TARDIS. Ranjan Master's joined us. She's reminding us. That was the name of that Doctor Who booth.
No, and also when people go to look at the houses or anything, it looks so small from outside. And once they enter, there's so much room, and it's common saying it's like a TARDIS, so big, timeless, or space, a lot of space. Today, Baba said space.
Yes, it's this interesting. Sister Judy's question was around, are the three worlds eternal? And it's just very interesting to think about all this. The foundation points of knowledge have a lot to them. A lot to them. The more you think on it, the more there's a lot of depth. Sister Ambika was mentioning the other day about that point about being the master of the land of Brahm, of the soul world. That's got a lot in it. Because if we continue this concept of the subconsciousness, and Ambika Ben was just sort of touching on that when we sit in meditation, we're not actually going to the soul world, are we? Like you're in your body. But the idea here is that Baba has given our intellects a blessing, which he calls the divine intellect. and he fills it with, so once we have the blessing of the divine intellect, we develop a capability to understand the morally. This is why some souls, they don't understand the morally, and they think, well, this is, I don't get all this, this is not. But sometimes you find 10 years later, they're studying the morally. Because all that was their time for getting the blessing was just a little bit later. And once they get the blessing, then they can understand everything. So we have to have the blessing from Baba. Baba says he unlocks our intellects. And knowledge teaches us, say, about these three worlds. Now, in your subconsciousness, you have the memory of being in the soul world, right? You were actually there. So when we're sitting in meditation, we're not actually going to the soul world, but the subconscious experience of being in nirvana can be emerged. It can be accessed. So the process of visualization, thought, Baba always says thoughts are very powerful. Thoughts are like your vehicle. So use the vehicle of your intellect to travel through the three worlds. This is the type of thing that he mentions. If we visualize ourselves as an angel, again, when most of us are not trance messengers. I mean, even trance, the soul is still in the body. They're sort of just switching some consciousness, but we visualize ourselves, like Brahma Baba talking about his angelic form being in the subtle region, but he was down here. So what was he doing? He was powerfully visualizing. So as he was powerfully visualizing, he was accessing that. Good morning, Baba Renam Shanti. We're just having a discussion about the three worlds and the subconsciousness of the soul and the power of the soul. So Brahma Baba is visualizing, but he was in the subtle region, right? We know that now. He was there for all these decades in the previous cycle. So he's got this very powerful memory in his subconsciousness. And then through the process of meditation, he is visualizing. Baba says that Raj Yoga is all about awareness. How powerfully are you using your awareness to create your experience? And your experience is not an abstract thing. So for example, Baba has told us that we are souls who were in the golden age. That's why we're studying the morally. Now, initially, that can be quite an abstract concept for us. I think for many Brahmins, we can't really relate often to the palaces and the gold. For many Brahmins, actually relating to the angelic form is a bit easier, actually. That feels a bit closer. But the golden aged world can sometimes feel a little bit abstract. But we have faith because Baba has told us that this is our role. We were in the golden age. Now, as we think about it, we hear these points in the morally, we then practice. Baba says, practice your 5 forms, spin the discus of self-realization. So we are practicing an awareness, even though initially we're not feeling it. But that awareness and that understanding, they are what enables us to access more of Baba's help. So Baba's seeing us trying, endeavoring. He then sends his vibrations into that process as well. And I think Shiv Baba and Brahma Baba, they directly target our positive subconsciousness. So Shiv Baba he's got his eye firmly fixed on our deity form, on our angelic form. So when he sees us, he sees past our human self. And he is firmly fixed on what's in our subconscious. And I've shared this many times that I found it very powerful last time Lady Janki was in London. I'd gone for the evening down to the London Centre. And I remember after the 7 to 7:30 yoga, so she creates that very subtle region atmosphere anyway, and she was probably already pretty much karmatit, so it was a very powerful vibration. And then she just said, Baba is changing the world through his drishti. And it was just, I just remember that feeling. That if, I think she just sort of leaned over to Sister Jayanti and said, Jayanti, isn't it amazing how Baba is changing the world? Jayanti, if we think about it, Baba's changing the whole world through his drishti. And it just stayed with me, that feeling, that Baba is just totally fixed on the Brahmin's deity form, on the angelic form. He's not seeing it as an abstract thing. He's seeing it within the soul as a real thing. And by fixing his gaze on that, he's empowering that. And as we develop that vision of ourselves, that awareness of ourselves, we are also then empowering that. So with Brahma, we look at his process. It was an insight in the Sunday Morley 2-3 Sundays ago. Do you remember we had the 18th of January 91 as a Sunday Morley? So Shiv Baba always explains things about Brahma Baba on that day, on the 18th of January. And yes, and then we had the Morley of Shiv Jayanti last time, which was the 13th of February 1991. And Shiv Baba was saying to us that there's different types of incarnation. So one is the incarnation of Shiva, but then there's also the incarnation of Brahma at the same time. And that doesn't mean, because Brahma is down here, he hasn't come from the soul world. It's a different type of incarnation. But Baba was talking about the perfect form of Brahma, incarnated, like emerging in the subtle region. So Brahma Baba's, Shiv Baba's emerging that form of Vishnu, that form of Brahma into the subtle region. His vision is fixed. Brahma's actually had these visions of that. And then he's begun practicing this powerful awareness. So Shiv Baba said to us that Brahma just clicked into the awareness. Daddy Shantamani used to tell the story of how Mama came to knowledge. Daddy Shantamani was Mama's cousin. That's right, isn't it? Mama's cousin, yeah. And she came to knowledge before Mama. She was also one of that early group with Daddy Prakashmani, Didi Manmahini, Daddy Chandramani. They came around September, October 1936. And Mama's mother also came at that time. So Mama's mother became a BK first. But Mama was studying away. She was at English medium school in Mumbai. She was not, she didn't study with the other daddies in Hyderabad. They were in a Sindhi medium school. But Mama was in, as Ranjabad saying, in a convent English medium school in Mumbai. So she had a different type of education altogether. It was a music specialism, and she had a Western education. So she was very different to the rest of the daddies. So she was not the type to do bhakti too much. Like the other daddies, like Baba was mentioning in today's Morley, girls were not really educated beyond elementary school. So these daddies were not that type of, they didn't have that type of education. And Daddy Chandramani and Daddy Janki, they were part of the same guru, Sadhu Vaswani. So they knew each other by being followers of this other guru. So again, they were very committed to their bhakti, to their devotion. It wasn't like that. But Mama was very different. And Daddy Janki used to share that she was always a bit scared of Mama as a young person because she was just so different to her. And that sort of Western intellectual type of person, she couldn't relate to it. And so Mama's mother has come, but she's like a more traditional mum who's into Bhakti. And Mama wouldn't come for a couple of months. And then eventually she did come. And she met Baba. And Daddy Shantamani said that Baba just gave drishti to Mama and said to Mama that I'm going to give you 24 hours to decide if you want to become Lakshmi. And come back and tell Baba tomorrow. And something in that meeting, it began to emerge, something inside of Mama. So she went away. She's 17 years old. Okay, so we're not talking about someone else. She's only 17. And she goes away. She's been taught a rational type of education, but something emerges. And she comes back the next day, certain that she is going to be Lakshmi. And so something has emerged. Baba's gaze has fixed that this is the soul of Lakshmi. Shiv Baba's gaze fixed on Brahma. This is the soul of Narayana. It's fixed gaze. And then in the Muralis, we're hearing it on us, aren't we? We hear it every day. You are the lucky stars. You are the angels. I mean, and every Murali by Murali, that Shiv Baba's gaze is fixed. Brahma Baba's gaze is fixed on the part of us that we might not have emerged yet. We're in the process of trying to emerge it, but it is there. Barbara Ben, you've joined us. I don't know if you want to come in and share something.
Shanti, everyone. Yes, I found that the aspect of soul consciousness is becoming more and more essential. This was my experience from the beginning. That's how I came into Gyan, having the seeing this point of light. It used to come in front and then it would go. And from time to time it would happen, especially when I'm quiet and alone. And after I had the outer body experience and I realized that I'm not the body, then I was focusing on who am I, who am I, who am I? And after taking the course, this particular class stood out because that's what I was searching for all my life. And from time to time, I would get that jolt, who am I? Who am I? So recently it's becoming very, very powerful, that thought. And reassuring myself and looking back and see how I've come, I've lost myself somewhere along the path. And it's like I had to get a good jolt to to reaffirm that understanding. And so I'm practicing it more and more these days, the bodiless stage, and even like almost every morning, who am I? I find it such a powerful question to ask yourself, who am I? And this morning, Murray, was very, very into that soul consciousness, that first lesson. And Baba reminding us first, you are soul, and then remember the Supreme Soul.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. And you reminded me that was Daddy Janki's 3 questions, wasn't it? Who am I? Who do I belong to? What do I have to do? She used to say she used to ask herself that 100 times a day. That was her effort, those 3 questions.
Yeah.
And so what we have is, like you said, see, like, why do we all love the morally? Because we heard it in the previous cycle, right? Like, these are all concepts that are relating to our subconsciousness. And back at Easter, we did that session on Christ's soul and things like that. And we've been hearing from Baba about how every religion, there's a father soul, there's a mother soul. And so if we share the morally with someone who belongs to the Christian clan or the Muslim clan or any other Buddhist clan, because their subconsciousness, it relates to their parents. So they feel very much at home within the Christian religion or within another religion, and they identify with that. This is why Baba says every soul has their own role. You have to understand that this is eternally filled within souls. And if they are to be a BK, if it's within their sanskars, that will then emerge at the right time. We don't need to think about it. We don't need to worry about it. Because everything is recorded in the soul. Everything comes according to the drama. But as you said, Barbara Ben, as we come into this path of Raj Yoga, it's also a healing process, a cleaning process. And we know we have many layers of dirt and rubbish on top of those original sanskars. So our subconsciousness is filled with so many things. And Baba says it's like a Ayurvedic or a herbal process where the illness emerges. And he says, just keep persevering, because underneath all of that rubbish, it will all come out, and those thoughts, those feelings, they'll take your mind in all sorts of different directions. And in today's blessing, I did record about it this morning. You might have had a chance to hear that this concept of the Chit is very subtle and very important. And the Chit is part of the subconsciousness, which is linked with past memories. And Baba was saying this morning in the blessing that you're going to need your intensive meditation, your tapasya, to be able to clean this Chit, to be able to make this Chit cheerful. Many of the karmic accounts we have, we can understand very practically. If we have bad health, if we have ups and downs in relationships, those things are easy to understand. But then we've got internal subtle karmic accounts. And maybe the most subtle of all is with our past. And that's what the Chit is. The Chit are your past impressions. And everything that you have taken into your heart and felt gets recorded in the Chit. And then a person gets bound by that Chit. So if we think when people are in their childhood stage, hopefully most children are happy and cheerful and bouncy, because at that point we don't have those burden of imprints into the Chit. That's why it's our purest stage. But then as life goes on, we're accumulating these experiences. And all of us react differently, of course. So where we're taking sorrow into the heart, that's determined also by our personal power and our perception. And some of us, we take sorrow from certain things, some from other things. It's all to do with our individual and makeup inside. And some things where they really imprint into the heart, then they then get deeply ingrained into the Chit. Then it keeps coming back into the mind. So Daddy would say they've got this triangle, the mind, the heart, and the Chit. So once you've ingrained something, once you've recorded something into your Chit, it then keeps coming back to you afterwards, into the mind. So then you're thinking about it. So you're reinforcing that. So then it becomes deeper and deeper engraved into the Chit. And that is a subtle karmic account. So what happens is that human beings become slaves to their past. Now, the biggest trauma, of course, we have is death. The death is a big, big trauma for us since the Copper Age. So if you look, a lot of the narrative that we get about the difference between the Golden Age and the Iron Age is around death. Baba always says to us that as deities in the Golden Age, there isn't even a word for death. You don't have even any experience. You just have a vision before you're going to leave the body, that you're going to become a baby again. And he says it's like a knife through butter. You just leave your body and there's no trauma. And everyone else is also so conscious. So they know you're a traveler. So they don't have any trauma either. So we have half a cycle where our chit is cheerful. So Baba always says deities are cheerful. And this is because we are never enslaved by the chit. But then we go to the Copper Age, and so much of bhakti is around death, isn't it? If you think about it, actually. So many processes and rituals and other things, they're actually linked around the trauma of death. And death is often when someone discovers spirituality or moves closer to God or gets angry with God and moves away from God. So death really defines a lot of our lives after the Copper Age, from the Copper Age onwards. The trauma can be so deep that it changes a person completely, and they then can't move on. And I was reading this week about the tragedy in Texas, and one of the school teachers' husbands, he had a heart attack. I was reading because the trauma is so deep that the person just doesn't have the power really the soul just doesn't have the power in the Iron Age to cope sometimes. So we can see how powerful, once sorrow hits the heart, it then goes into the chit, and then it keeps coming into the mind, and the soul can't cope anymore. So Daddy used to say this is vital, that we must firstly remember Baba as the mother. And Baba the mother gives us unconditional love. And that unconditional love, it seems like only really Shiv Baba's love can go into the chit. Because when you try and comfort someone, you always feel inadequate, actually. So if someone's had a death of some sort, we can speak a few words, but we're never really able to remove the sorrow from inside of them. We want to reach into the soul and take out their sorrow, and we can't do it. But Shiv Baba can. And this is the beauty of Shiv Baba, this ability to be able to reach into the soul. So I look at myself over this last 20 years or so, 25 years, and this has really been the big liberation. So now, I don't think my chit is carrying too much, but it's been that process of cleaning and healing. And the chit is like, once something's engraved, it's like a big drive. So when a soul is behaving irrationally and disproportionately, that's the chit. So it becomes a karmic account for the soul. And from the outside, you're looking at this going, come on, have some sense. Like you can see from the outside, you can see very clearly what the problem is. But when a soul is being governed by their chit, they're being driven by the chit, they can't see it. And it doesn't matter what you say. This is so powerful. So for example, some people, they get into bad company with someone, and you can see this is bad company. But these souls have a common memory of a past life, maybe. So they have a karmic account with each other. So in their chit, they have a memory of each other. And maybe in a past life, it wasn't bad company. Maybe it was a good relationship, but they've met again in another life in a bad circumstance. And you can see from the outside, what are you doing? This is bad news. But that soul will not listen to you because it's a powerful drive. A soul, different traumas can also drive a soul to perform bad actions. And you're looking at this going, what are you doing? How is this a good decision? This is a terrible decision. But it's not rational, you see. The intellect gets overridden by the chit. And this is why it is so vital. I was speaking with one sister a while back. She was from the Netherlands. And she's been with Baba 20 years at that time. And she was saying to me, she feels like she's just waking up. Like after 20 years, it's like, oh, and now it's like I'm just now realizing. And this is very common, I think, for Brahmins. I could completely relate to that sister. That actually, when we come to Baba, we're like very unconscious of ourselves. We don't even realize it is the chit that's driving us. And actually, as we become more clean through Baba's help, we're waking up. We're becoming more aware of what is our subconscious drivers and what is actually good decision making, using our Baba's conscience and Baba's teachings. So this is why I wanted to choose a morally today that consolidates this concept, because Baba raised it in the morning, and we're going to hear the morally of the 31st of December 1999, and Benjamin will read up until the group meeting, so we won't read that because it's quite a long morally with the group meetings, but the main body of content is in the main morally bit. Do you want to say anything, Philip? And then after we've had the morally, I'll welcome some more thoughts from everyone. Okay, over to Ranjan Ben. No, I started recording.
Om Shanti, good morning to all. This is the Murli of 31st December 1999. Bhaktada says, in the new century, your angelic form must be revealed in your behavior and on your face. Today, Bhaktada is pleased to see his children who have the right to receive sustenance from God. You are so fortunate that you are being given sustenance by God himself. People of the world say that God is sustaining them, whereas you few special souls are being sustained by him in a practical way. The sustenance you are given by God is his Srimad. You are moving along and being sustained with this Srimad from God. Do you experience yourselves to be such special souls? Do you know your own greatness? At present, you Brahmin souls are great anyway. In the future too, you become the most elevated great souls. In the copper age too, you are considered so great that anyone who goes in front of your non-living idols will bow down to them. You have such greatness that even today, if some souls were to dress up as make-believe deities, if they were to be made to look like Lakshmi and Narayan or Ram and Sita, and continue to pretend to play that deity part, then even though others know those souls in their ordinary human form, they would still bow down to them, considering them to be deity souls. So there is greatness of your form also. However, souls who have a great name are also considered to be great. So do you experience such greatness? Do you just know about this greatness, or do you also experience it? Do you simply know about it, or do you experience it in yourself in an emerged form? The main thing is to experience it. Bap Dada makes all you children into images of experience. You are not those who just listen to everything or know about everything. The condition of each one of you can be recognized from your face, behavior, and way of doing everything. So think about what your behavior is like. Is everything you do the Brahmin way of doing it? A Brahmin means a soul who is always full with all powers and full with all virtues. Is your behavior like this? Although you are ordinary, does your face reveal that you are alokik? A-L-O-K-I-K. And in bracket it explains, not of this world. Do they experience your vision, attitude, and vibrations to be alokik? Since even in your last birth, your divinity and greatness are experienced in your non-living images, then this should be experienced in you present elevated living souls. Should it not? Those images of you are non-living, are they not? Check everything you do throughout the day from Amrit Vela. Is your vision alokik? Is the pose of your face constantly cheerful? Is it constantly stable, or does it change from time to time? Is your awareness and attitude only alokik when you are sitting in yoga and when you are doing special service? Or does your face and behavior stay special even whilst you are carrying on with your ordinary work? Does everyone who sees you consider you to be alokik even when you are very busy at work or in any situation of upheaval? Therefore, check whether your way of speaking and acting are alokik. Check whether even whilst you are doing anything ordinary, it can be seen from your face that you are loving and detached. Do souls who suddenly appear in front of you at any time experience you to be alokik angels from your vibrations, your way of speaking, and doing everything. Today is the day of the confluence. The old is going and the new is coming.
It's a new year, morally.
So the next day is the new year. That's why Baba is saying the
Yeah, and it was the new millennium as well.
yeah, 2000, yeah, after that, yeah. The old is going and the new is coming. So what newness should you reveal to the world? It is a different matter to remember or understand this internally. But think about the time of establishment. How much time for establishment has already passed? According to the amount of time already passed, there is very little time remaining. Therefore, what should be experienced? Bap Dada knows that there are many very good effort makers who are making effort and are flying. However, in this 21st century, Bap Dada wants to see something new. All of you are good. You are all special and great. However, the basis of the Father's revelation is the revelation of your angelic behavior and way of doing everything whilst carrying out your ordinary work. Bap Dada doesn't want to hear that the situation was like that the work was like that the circumstances and problems were like that, and that was why you behaved ordinarily. To have an angelic form means you should be an embodiment of your awareness. That your awareness should be revealed in your physical form. It shouldn't just be as far as your level of understanding or your awareness, but it should be your form. There should be such transformation that at any time and in any circumstance, only your alokik form should be visible. Is it like this or does it change sometimes? You must not allow the situation to change your form. Why should the situation change you? You have to change the situation. Should words change you or should you change your words? What would be called transformation? What would you call a sample of a practical life? Even ordinary people are able to adjust their features according to the time and circumstances. However, an angel means one who is beyond any of the past and ordinary way of behaving. Your topic now is the call of time. Therefore, from now on, time is calling for you special great souls to be seen as angels. So that's really nice, isn't it? Baba is saying, therefore, from now on, time is calling for you special great souls to be seen as angels. This means only your alokik form should be visible from now. Is this possible? Teachers, speak. Is this possible? When will this happen? It is very good if this is possible. When will it happen? Do you want one more year? Will it happen at the end of the year 2000? Do you want one more year or not? Those of you who think that you need more time, if not 1 year, then 6 months or 3 months, raise your hands. You are not raising your hands for this. What is your slogan? Do you remember it? What do you think it is? Do you remember?
If not now, then never.
So Baba is asking us to raise our hands. You are not raising your hands for this. What is your slogan? Do you remember it? If not now, then never. In Hindi, it is ab. Ab nahi to kab nahi. Ab means if not now, then never. Kab, it means never. Whose slogan is this? Does this slogan belong to the Brahmins or the deities? It is for you, Brahmins, is it not? So, in this new century, Bap Dada wants to see that no matter what happens, you must not discard your alokik way of behaving. For this, you simply have to pay attention to 4 things. What are they? They are not anything new. They are old things. Baba is simply revising them for you. 1, a well-wisher who has positive thoughts for others. So in Hindi, it is Shubh Chintak. So Shubh, S-H-U-B-H, means well-wisher, and Chintak, C-H-I-N-T-A-K, means positive thoughts, means who churns positive thoughts only. Then number 2, one with positive thoughts, Shubh Chintan, for the self. So also churn have the positive thoughts for the self. And the number 3, one who constantly has pure feelings. Not that you would change if the other person changes. You must have pure feelings for others and also for yourself. And number 4, a pure and elevated awareness and form. Simply remember this one word, Shubh.
Do you want to repeat the form?
Also means pure and auspicious. Yeah, so 1 is well-wisher who has positive thoughts for others, Shubh Chintak. Number 2, 1 with positive thoughts, Shubh Chintan for the self. Number 3, 1 who constantly has pure feelings, not that you would change if the other person changes. You must have pure feelings for others and also for yourself. And number 4, a pure and elevated awareness and form. Simply remember this one word, Shubh. Also means pure and auspicious. All 4 things are included in this word. You simply have to keep the word Shubh in your awareness. You have heard it many times. You also speak about it to others many times. Now, pay more attention to being the form of this. Bap Dada knows that you are the ones who have to become this. Everyone who comes will see all of you in this physical form. today is the last day of the year. Therefore, Bap Dada looked at the chart for the year of the majority of you children. What did Bap Dada see? Bap Dada saw one main thing. Bap Dada saw that you lack the powers to erase and to merge. You do erase everything. You do erase anything wrong that you have seen, heard, and thought, and anything of the past. However, you speak of this as one being the conscious and the other being the subconscious.
Baba is using the English words
Hmm.
conscious and subconscious in the Hindi as well.
Yeah. So Baba is saying, you do erase anything wrong that you have seen, heard, and thought, and anything of the past. However, you speak of this as one being the conscious and the other being the subconscious. You do erase it, but whether you call it the plate of the mind, the slate of the mind, or the paper, you don't erase everything completely.
Baba is saying we erase it from our conscious mind, but he's questioning, he's asking us to question ourselves. Is it erased from the subconscious mind?
Why aren't you able to erase it totally? The reason is that your power to merge is not powerful enough. You are able to merge everything according to the time, but then something would emerge again at another time. Therefore, you are unable to keep yourself busy in the 4 words that Bap Dada told you about. If the plate, slate, or the paper of the mind is not completely wiped clean, then because it is not completely clean, would anything you try to write be better? Would it be clear? For example, if you try to imbibe all the virtues and powers, would this be constant and to the full percentage? You can only use these powers easily when everything is completely clean and clear. The reason why you can't is that the slate of the majority of you is not clean and clear. Even a few things and behavior of the past, a few wasteful situations and wasteful behavior would still be merged within you in a subtle way. Then they will emerge into your physical form at certain times. Therefore, according to the time, first of all, check yourself. You have to check yourself. You do not have to engage yourself in checking others. It is very easy to check others, but it is very difficult to check yourself. Therefore, check that the slate of your mind is completely clean and clear of anything wasteful and anything of the past. The most subtle form that any of this would take would stay in your vibrations. An angel means one who is completely clean and clear, with the power to merge, transform anything negative into positive, and merge it. Do not merge the negative. Transform the negative into something positive and merge it. Then there will be newness in the new century. So this reminds you of Dadi Janki's, even in her, that stump and okay. It's simplicity and cleanliness. So Baba, and she became angel. And so, should Baba tell you what else he saw? Should Baba tell you, or is this dose already enough?
I'll just quickly recap on that bit. Baba is saying to us that we might observe wasteful things, we might experience different mixed experiences and emotions, but we have to use our knowledge and positivity to transform that. So we have to use our power of perception to transform that, because if we take it in a negative form into our heart, it gets recorded in our chit, in our subconscious. And then later on, when we're trying to be positive and angelic and spiritual, those impressions that we were left by those people and those situations, they will keep interfering. And we won't consistently be able to maintain that soul conscious spiritual stage. But these other memories will continue to pull us again and again, and they'll create an attitude within us whenever we hear about that person, meet that person. It will be the recordings in our chit that actually govern how we interact, rather than coming purely from a spiritual perspective. So Baba is saying that you have to clean your slate. So we could be Brahmins 20, 30 years, but actually over those 20, 30 years, we've seen many things we don't agree with, many things we don't like. So actually we could have been accumulating all of this extra burden, which will then stop us from realizing our true potential. And Baba is saying that it's not worth it. It's just making you you're not achieving anything through this. But your aim is to become a diamond, an angel. And an angel is completely clear, even in their subconsciousness. So he's saying that sometimes you are consciously thinking, you think that in your conscious mind you finish something, but all you've done is suppress it. So it will still come out in your vibrations in one way or another. It must still emerge on your face in one way or another. Carry on.
Should Baba tell you what else he saw? Should Baba tell you, or is this dose already enough? Bap Dada has already told you that no matter what happens, he has to take all of you back with him to Paramdham. Whether with love, pyar, in Hindi is P-Y-A-R, pyar means love, or with beating, mar, means to beat someone. Baba is going to take everyone, Baba says. Whether with love, pyar, or with beating, mar, he will take you back. He will take back those who don't have knowledge with beating. And he will take all of you children back with him with love. Even now, Bap Dada still says that no matter what happens, all of you great souls have to be revealed in your angelic form to the souls of the world. So, are you ready for this? Bap Dada has already warned you in one way or another that he has to make you become this. How else would the new world come? Acha. What else did Baba see? It is the end of the year today. Is it not? Look, Bap Dada is using the word majority, not the word all. Therefore, what else did Baba see? Only when you find the answer to the excuses you make will you be able to bring about the new world. So the second thing that Baba saw was carelessness in different forms. Baba also saw a very royal form of carelessness. One expression of carelessness is anything goes. Everything is all right. No one physical would be able to see every action of anyone. Even when Brahma was in the physical form, he wasn't able to see that. However, now in the Avyakt form, if he wanted to do so, he could observe every act of anyone. It is remembered that God has 1,000 eyes and 100,000 eyes, 100,000 years. Therefore, now, at this time, no matter how much someone tries to hide from them, and they do hide things with royalty, not in any ordinary way, the incorporeal one and Avyakt Brahma together are able to see everything. Therefore, one type of carelessness is in a gross form, and the other type is in a refined and subtle form. The words you use for both of these types of carelessness is that anything goes, everything is all right. We will have to see what happens. Nothing is going to happen. Let's make do with what it is now. We will see about it later. These are thoughts of carelessness. If Bap Dada wanted to, he could relate all of this to all of you. But you ask for your honor to be maintained. Therefore, Bap Dada maintains your honor. However, this carelessness of yours doesn't allow your efforts to become intense. It stops you from being able to pass with honor because you yourselves think that anything goes, anything would be okay in the result. However, you won't be able to fly. So did you hear what two things Baba saw? This carelessness is stopping you from bringing about transformation. Each of you has this in a different form. At the time when you say, we shall see what happens, Bap Dada simply smiles. And he also says, we shall see what happens. You were told why Baba is telling you all of this today. Whether you want to or not, you have to be made this by force, if necessary. Like we say, by hook or crook. And yeah. So by force, Baba said, if necessary. You have to become this. Today, Baba has told you a little strongly because you are making plans of doing this and that. However, if you haven't found an answer to your excuses, then you will only be able to do everything temporarily. When any situation crops up, you say, the situation was like this, the reason was like that anyway. My karmic accounts were like that. Therefore, you will have to become that. Do you agree with this? Teachers, do you agree? Foreigners, do you agree? Bap Dada says that you have to become this. Then in the new century, you will say that you have become this. Is it like this? You should take as little time as possible. In spite of that, Bap Dada is giving you one more year. So Baba spoke this Murli 23 years ago. In 1999, and this is 2022. So it's 23 years ago, Baba was asking. So Baba is advising us sweetly that then in the new century, you will say that you have become this. Is it like this? You should take as little time as possible. In spite of that, Bap Dada is giving you one more year. Then it's easy, is it not? Do this comfortably and restfully. Restfully, Aram. A-A-R-A-M. Aram. Means we are invoking Rama to come, and means remember the Father first and then do it. And Baba said, do it restfully. Means rest means aram, aram means rest also. So that's what Baba is playing with that word. So Baba is saying restfully, aram. And then aram means Rama come. So Baba says restfully means remember the Father first and then do it. Don't have that rest of the Dunlop pillow. Is Bap Dada's love for you greater, or is your love for Bap Dada greater? Who has greater love, Baba or you? Do the Pandavas have love? Say Haji. Today Bap Dada is going to catch you out. Bap Dada has the faith in all of you that you will all give the return of love and definitely become equal to Father Brahma. You will become this, will you not? If you don't become this, then because Bap Dada loves you, he won't leave you alone. You can't leave alone the one you love. So Brahma Baba has a lot of love for you all. He is waiting for you all and wondering, when will my children come? So you will become equal, will you not? Baba will tell you of a conversation that Brahma Baba had with him. The 18th January is now about to come. So Brahma Baba was telling Shiv Baba to make all of you children fix a date, saying, how much longer should I wait? Make them fix a date. What did Father Shiva reply? Shiv Baba simply smiled. Bap Dada says that it will be the children who will fix the date. Bap Dada is not going to do this. So Father Brahma is remembering all of you a great deal. Therefore, will you fix a date? In the new year, have the determination to become equal. Keep your aim of definitely becoming angels. Now stop all of your old things. Your original and eternal sanskars must now emerge. So original and eternal sanskars must now emerge. Always remain aware whilst walking and moving around. I am an angel like the Father. I have no connection with old sanskars and old things. Do you understand? Today's Murli also, Baba said few times about I'm a soul, I'm doing this. So now with this, Baba says, whilst moving around, walking and moving around, remain aware. I am an angel like the Father. I have no connection with old sanskars and old things. Do you understand? This thought of transformation needs water and sunshine. Just as when you sow a seed, you provide it with all these things so that it can bear fruit. Therefore, give this thought, this seed, the water and sunshine of your awareness. Keep revising the promise you have made to Bap Dada again and again. Om Shanti. Then there's a group meetings about jurists and cultural. So,
Would you like to share something?
well, today's Avyak signal wasn't it? It was about, Baba said that, the nature, you have given the nature, in the natural calamities, all the elements, you've given them very long brooms or sweep to sweep the dirt of this. So don't worry about it. Just stay unshakable, immovable. Do you remember this? So today's, I thought it was really good. Baba said they will do their work. You're already given them long, huge, brooms and equipment to sweep the entire world clean. But all you have to do is remain. Any situation comes, just remain with Baba, remain unshakable. And yesterday's blessing, wasn't it about that Maya cannot touch you if you stay in your higher seat. Maya can't reach you if you're higher up above in your seat. Don't get upset. So I thought, and that this Murli sums up the entire week's Baba's, teachings to us for our progress. So I thought it was a really lovely reminder. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone who's here with us live like to share anything?
Shanti. That point that Baba was saying, that if you don't first transform that situation from negative to positive, then it's going to keep coming up again and again. And that realization that unless we clean, clean the, when the sister was saying, and Baba was saying, when you try to write something on a slate that is already have things written, it would not be clear. So in order for me to become clear, in order for me to become an angel, I really have to change that situation. And as you said earlier, by that things are, it's like a message continue to have that there in your situation. Don't deal with it. You see the person or whenever something, you may just be reminded of a situation there as though it's never been erased. So you really have to transform it, rather than before you merge it, because it can't be, I don't think it can be ever erased completely. But make sure that subconscious is positive. Yeah, that was my main point.
Yeah, thank you, sister. Yes, there are two things, aren't there? There's the stuff we've already accumulated, and we've got to erase that. And then the other is, day by day, are we accumulating more things into our subconsciousness? So Baba was saying you're going to need the ability to transform that before you take it into yourself. Another time we'll read another Murali where Baba describes the mind and intellect as needing to become powerful, quick machines, that they can transform anything immediately from negative to positive. So by the time it's even reaching your heart, your perception has just already transformed it, and you're not taking it into yourself in a negative way. Otherwise, we not only have all the past burdens, but daily we're accumulating more. And then we take from Baba on top of that. And we do receive from Baba the virtues and the powers. But Baba is saying that unless your slate is already clean, you're putting the good stuff on top of the bad stuff. So it's not going to be solid. It's not going to remain there. Thanks for sharing.
But
Anyone?
Brother
Yes,
Shiloh,
Judy Ben, go ahead.
some of these bad memories are so powerful, especially one of mine that keeps coming up again and again. I am so very interested in finding out, how do I erase that? It's a bad memory. It keeps coming up. What do I do to erase that? What do I do to get rid of it?
Baba advises us to use writing, and I used to do a lot of writing. My first 10 years, 10, 15 years of this Raj Yoga, I used to keep lots of diaries, and I found at that point it wasn't helpful for me to analyze too much. I just needed to share with Baba. And somehow, when you put it in writing, you create some level of distance between yourself and the emotion or the memory. I found it better than just talking to Baba and telling. And it would be just like sharing with Baba, this is what's going on inside of me. I need your love to heal me and to do that. So I would say a combination of writing and then waking up at Amrit Vela. Daddy Janki used to say, just remember Baba as the mother. And as the mother, there's no expectation. It's just unconditional love. And we're so damaged from our many births that we often don't have the strength to overcome these memories, to overcome these powerful feelings from the past. And we're really just needing Baba's love. We're needing to heal. And that as you heal, the memory will become less powerful.
Thank you. I think reading the Murlis more and more is going to help me as well.
Definitely.
And the thing is, Baba will understand our language only if we are soul conscious. Remember, Baba from time to time gives us, today he said, I'm an angel. Or Baba gave us so many titles, that you are such great souls. I'm your humble child. Whatever your relation, but just be in that spiritual consciousness.
And as Judy Ben was saying, I've seen with Ranjan Ben, she's a big Morley reader. And I think reading the Morleys is very therapeutic.
Yes.
I remember once in the London Centre, one sister was asking Sister Jayanti that some days she comes to the Morley class and she's got so many thoughts in her head. She's like quite unconscious of the Morley, like the Morley will just sort of pass by. And she's not in the right space really to be able to understand what's going on, grasp what's going on. And should she still come? Or is it better to sit in Baba's room or do something else? And Sister Jenti's comment was the Murali is from the ocean of knowledge, the ocean of love. And even if you find you're in a space some days where you can't really grasp the details of what's going on, you let the waves of the ocean wash over you. Because each point of the Murali is a wave of the ocean of knowledge. And it will go into your subconsciousness as well as you hear it. Because God's words seep deeply into the soul. And so she was saying that just by letting the Murali wash over you even, it will do the work of cleaning and healing inside of the soul.
And
thank you so much.
And one more thing, I just, whenever you read a Murli, I ask my friend, Baba, my friend, to revise with me or to read Murli to me and stay in this, mind will keep on, but before that, discipline mind and take mind to Baba and hand over mind, intellect, and have Baba in front of you, like, you like to revise with a friend or a sister. Baba often keeps on reminding us, now your relationship is with me. Although, we have relationship with our Lokik, Baba says, look at them as alokik, as Baba's children, but have a relationship with Baba, because this is the only confluence age time that we can have relationship, which will help us throughout the kalpa. So whenever you want to read Murli or something, ask Baba, invite Baba to be with you, and read ask your friend to read and explain. And I find that has helped me a lot to understand.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ranjan Ben. I appreciate all of it. Om Shanti.
Shanti. Would anyone else like to come in and make a comment?
Shanti.
Shanti.
I do agree that really the past can sometimes keep us back. And as you suggested, and that was suggested to me as well some time ago, that really journaling your thoughts, I am not really constant with it. I'm not really one who, when Baba used to say, write me a letter, I would do that. But I have found that it really has been helpful that when we go through whatever it is, and while you talking to Baba and all that, but really in the writing, you realize things even for yourself in writing. And that has helped me, of things of the past, of decisions to make, and knowing that Baba, he gets it even before I feel you finish a sentence, because your thought is there when the words. And sometimes I have found that in writing, sometimes you go back and you read it and you realize that you didn't even realize that this was what you're putting down on paper. And it really, I realized today's conversation has really been, for me, very helpful in that, knowing that how much we need to go back into the self, the soul, understanding there's all types of recording there within the soul, and how to clean what is negative. And with Baba's knowledge is to understand that also what we also perceive as negative can also be used in a positive way, in that it helps us to grow, and I think forgiveness is very important for whatever would have happened in our lives, and forgiveness for itself, because we would have done things without knowledge or without knowing or knowing better. But forgiveness for others, because they too would not have known what they were doing. I want to use the word ignorance because they don't have knowledge, but an understanding who they truly are. And Baba is telling us, like in the Murli that Ranjan Ben read, if not now, then never. Baba mentions that on many occasions. And why it is important now, if we use in the time now that we're in, do what we have to do, listen to Baba, follow his streamer, look to clean. I think cleaning now is so important for whatever remnants is there, because it really holds us back. It holds us back. And this morning, Sister Jenna from Washington read the Murli for us, and she is on the retreat in Peace Village, and she made a comment. And I found it was really a interesting thing to practice, is that she says all the souls that she's meeting in Peace Village, she is asking her purity, my purity, what do I want from this soul? So she's tapping into her own, all of us have that, the purity. So you're seeing whoever you're interacting with on that consciousness. Because when she's used the term, I'm asking my purity, what do I have to give this soul, or what do I want from this soul? And I think really going back to our original sanskars, we may not have it in an emerged form, but knowing that we have it and bringing it back 34. You know, this morning conversation of being, everything is within the soul, but understanding, you know, we have all those powers within. Yes, we need to tap into Baba, and we need to be able to re-emerge those powers, because it's really the 8 powers at this time is what is really, really important. Each power in its own context, in each situation, but all the powers, you know, tap back into Baba and emerge it, but knowing that that is what we have. And this is who Baba is telling us we are, the original souls. That is powerful. Om Shanti.
Great summary. Thank you. Agree with all of that. Would anyone else like to make any final comments?
No, I just wanted to ask Barbara when if she's sitting near the sea front or something. It looked nice. I was a bit jealous. You know, you have to travel far to go to the seaside.
No, it's not the seaside. It's more near to the mountains.
Oh, I
But
see.
It's joined with the blueness of the sky. It looks like the ocean. But
Yeah,
I can see the ocean from here, but I'm not near to it.
I saw the palms and I said, I'm sorry, Baba, but
Oh no, these are the
I'm
palms in the
jealous.
garden. Yeah.
I think Ambika Ben really summarized today's conversation really, really well. Thank you all for stimulating the conversation, those of you that were able to be here. I think it was really useful. And let's work on these 2 powers, the power to erase, the power to merge, and let's develop our machinery of transforming negative into positive before we take it into ourselves, and take Baba's help with that.
And emerge the eternal sanskars, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Original and eternal.
Om Shanti, everyone.
Om Shanti.
Have a great week. Om
Thank you,
Shanti.
brother. Thank you.
Om
Ben.
Shanti. Thank
Om
you both
Shanti.
very much.
Welcome, Om Shanti. Have a good week.
Thank you.